Hello, and welcome to this lesson on how to create a sway from your Google Doc. First thing we're going to do, we're going to open up the document that we have. Then we go to File and Download as Microsoft Word. You'll notice when I do this, since we're working on a Chromebook, the document shows that it's downloaded, and we can show it in a folder. Then I just want to make sure it's saved to my computer, so I can see it's in my Downloads folder. So now I can minimize this, put this to the side, then log into Sway. You're going to log in through your 365 account. I already have it open. I can start from a document. I'm going to go right back to that Downloads folder. I'm just going to open up the document that I just saved. And then it will take my organizer and I'll put it directly into the format for Sway. Depending on how big the file is, it may take a bit. There we go. You can see now my whole organizer is in Sway and it is ready to edit. So with Sway, it's pretty user-friendly. So for anybody who likes using Prezi or Piktochart, anything, any other presentation websites online, it's pretty simple stuff. You can insert pictures, you can insert text, you can insert, and you can search within Sway, and it allows you to look through Flickr, Bing, Picket, YouTube. It searches all these things, or you can specifically suggest which ones that you'd like to search. In using your cards, you break down your text, your heading, your images, video, everything. You put them on separate cards, and then you put it together through the design and through the layout. So the design is the fonts and the background, the way that you want to set things up. The layout is how you choose if you want to go top to bottom, left to right, or presentation style, clicking from block to block. And then if you'd like to mix it up, you can click remix while you're editing, and then it will change the layout, the design, and everything for you to see if you like it. You can always change it back. So if you don't like it, you can always go back. We're going to work from the storyline. So you want to make sure you take your storyline out, and then this is where you're going to be doing all of your work. So I'm going to start by moving my title. So I'm going to go to cards, and I'm going to start moving some things around. So what I like to do is I like to cut things. So I'm going to highlight, Control X to cut, and then I'm going to put this in my title card. Control V to paste, and I moved it. This happens from time to time, so you just have to play with it until you get familiar, and then you can work through it. What I'm going to do here, so I have the Holden's hat here, and then I'm going to move my thesis up to the text card. And then I can choose to emphasize certain things. So the Catcher in the Rye, I'm going to emphasize, and then depending on which theme you use, you'll notice as you start to input things, notice it made Catcher in the Rye bold. Holden's Hunting Hat is the title, so it's in its own colorful section. And again, as you change the design and the layout, those things will change. I can also change the size of the text. So now when I look back, you'll see if I want to add emphasis and make it larger. Now my thesis is up next, so since I clicked emphasize, it made it larger. Okay. And then I also like to use the Chrome plugin Grammarly to double check. It double checks grammar and spelling throughout all of your work online. It's pretty helpful. So now that I have these in place, I'd like to add some images. So I'm going to insert, and I'll do my searching right in here. Now, I don't mind for this project specifically if they search people's Twitter and Flickr and other things, because they, for some reason, whatever reason, a lot of people like sketching Holden Caulfield. So you can find a lot of really good pictures of people's original artwork that can help. So I'm just going to move around. I'm going to input some pictures to really dress it up. One thing that's great is you can just drag and drop straight from in here. If you'd like to, you can search in Google and move things around too. If you'd like to import it from Google, you can do that. So now we start to play with the focus. So I'm not really liking the up and down, so I'm going to change it to the side-to-side view. Let me add some things first. I can add my second section. I can do that by clicking on its text card. I'm going to turn to a heading. And now I have my second subtopic. Well, my first subtopic. You have to really get used to playing with Sway because sometimes the formatting can throw you off a little bit. So you just have to get used to it. And then the more you use it, the easier things will get. So one thing that's pretty cool is you can group pictures. So I'm going to move my quote underneath my first subtopic. And then I'm going to start throwing some pictures in there. So what you do is you just, I'm going to look up pictures of the hunting hat. Holden's hat. Since he's a pretty popular guy, I'm sure I'll be able to search just for Holden's hat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one here, and then I can throw a couple other ones around to try and dress it up a little bit. What's nice is if you add several pictures, you can then group them, and then you can change the style in which they're presented. So I'll throw a few in here. I said I wanted to change the layout a little bit, so I'm going to switch it to side to side. And then I'm going to go back to the cards, and I want to do what I was talking about with grouping those images. So by grouping the images, I click on the image, and I click that bottom box. So I can take these four, I can put them all together. So once I group them, I can then choose a way that I want them to lay out. I can make them like a slideshow where it's more interactive. I can put a stack. I can just put them in a grid. I like the stack feature. So let's take a look at this project so far, see how it's shaping up. So I'm going to want to move this around a little bit. I'm not crazy about that. We can see my thesis is clear. Holden's hunting hat. So the hat is a motif. So I'm going to play with it because I want it to look better, but I can see my cards. I'm definitely going to want them to be bigger. But you can see how I can click on the cards and then it shuffles the pictures. So let's go. I want to change the design. Make it a little bit darker. The layout, I'm going to read it like more like a story. And then in the cards, I'm going to change up my pictures a little bit. I want the pictures to come in larger with the stack. So I'm going to make it larger. I think the text card, I'd like to emphasize it a little bit more. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'll get rid of that extra space in the bottom. And then I'm going to move up some of my analysis. And if you want to add analysis after the pictures, if I'm in the picture, I can just click plus to go after it. It's not letting me do it there, so I can try and find another spot to add text. I can just go here, click text, and it should add one in. There we go. So now I can add my analysis. Like I said, you just have to play with it a little bit because it is user-friendly once you get the hang of it, but there are some things that you might need to work with. Suggested comma. And now let's preview. I do like the sideways a little bit more, and we can see it takes me through the pictures. I can click, and then we also see my analysis. I do feel like that analysis needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make it bigger. So as you can see, it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you start getting things going, it starts to really clean up and start to take form. So I have my quote, I have my analysis with some pictures that I can play around with a little bit, and then I would just continue working. And then towards the end, at the very end, I'm going to have my works cited page. So hopefully this was helpful to you. And obviously, the more time you put into it, the better you're going to get at it. And then, the better the project's going to look.